Yeah, we're gonna run with this, Timmy. Let it go, Tim. Let's dance. We'll let David Bowie buzz out in the background here a little bit. Being back on the air for week 2 of GFHL Weekly feels fantastic. Makes you want to dance. I'm your host, the boy toy, Easy Gee, and we have a ram jam packed show for you today. And we got to get right into it due to time constraints, but it is going to be fantastic. Quickly, we're going to give you the breakdown of this week's GFHL Today episode. In no particular order, we have in studio, as promised by our producer, Tim. Tim, was it hard getting this guy in today? Or, yeah, I hear he's coming from somewhere, like, where was he coming from, Timmins? No, he was at, like, Taunton, I don't know. Apparently this guy came from halfway around the world to be here today, and can't thank him enough. El Presidente, Anthony Simone himself. We also have 2 new segments coming for you live here this evening. The first one is something called Chris's Can't Misses. Now, Tim, do you have any idea what this is? No, you're the one who booked it. So, essentially what you're saying is Chris called you, general manager of Believers, and said he wants to be on air and you just gave him the camera. Yeah, well, apparently, okay, perfect. I guess, he's going to explain everything. Perfect. Chris's Can't Miss is coming up for you. Second new segment we have is called Operation Domination. Now, this segment is for Hot Rods members. Now, a few of you might not know that aside from this podcast, we play on a provincial ball hockey winning team. We're actually in the OBHF, and we've experienced a lot of success over the past 5 years. Ultimately, capping that success was our provincial winning tournament this year in London, Ontario. There are 5 members of this fantasy league who do play for that team. And what we're going to do is every week we have one of those GMs in studio. We're going to get him to kind of look back, reminisce, and reflect on the success that the Hot Rods have had. And it's can't wait for that segment. It's going to be probably one of my favorites and one of your favorites very soon. We also have the standings for you, the waiver wire, scores updates. We got a lot coming at you real quick. So without further ado, I present to you none other than
yes now
General Manager of Sims Nation,
all right,
Provincial Ball Hockey Champion, El Presidente himself, Anthony Simone. Anthony, thanks for there he is. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Congratulations.
Want to just breathe a little bit, baby?
Let it go.
How was the drive in? Was it okay?
It was tough.
No, where are you coming from? Where did you come from?
I was coming from Tavistock today.
Tavistock.
Tavistock, yeah, it was.
Tavistock?
Yeah, Tavistock.
Does anybody know where that is?
Yeah,
Before you answer, let's get a put this up on our Twitter, which is @EasyGee. Tavistock, Ontario, Canada. Let's see if anybody knows where that is. So you're coming from that part of the city.
Yeah, and it took me about 2 hours to get back. It's a pretty big grind, but it's this office job, man. I'm telling you, it's getting in the way of running my secondary job as commissioner of the GFHL.
Yeah, now last week on the intro, you may have heard that when he was coming on, I said not only is he El Presidente and the commissioner, he also has a number of side jobs, a few entrepreneurships, and we're going to get to that in a second. But fans and GMs alike are very interested in you being here today, and it's a great privilege and an honor to have you in studio. Now, this isn't your standard Ron McLean interview. The GM's requested that I come at you with some pretty hot topics.
Yeah, that's great.
We're going to get it going real quick here for you. How many years are we in the GFHL now, is it?
This has got to be now, I think we're into the 6th year.
6th year, yeah, 2000,
it was 2009, yeah.
It's about 6 years. Now, when you first sent out the invitations to be part of the GFHL, is this what you had envisioned? Now, if this is not the league you have envisioned, how far away are we from getting to that league?
Well, this all started about 6 years ago, like we said, and at the beginning it was just a bunch of us wanting to kind of just get into a hockey league, and nobody was kind of trying to set it up. So I decided one day I was gonna set it up before hockey season got going, and we got in. But the league was very different back then. We had a bunch of different GMs that we don't have any longer today. A lot of the GMs that are in the league now we didn't have back then. Very different. But this has got to be one of our best years. This, I would have to say, this would probably be the best year. And going back to how I envisioned it, this year, the way it's going right now, I think is how I envisioned it.
Now you touched briefly upon that we had a number of different general managers in the league. Now, last year we had a 10-team league with Reg and Paulo, general manager of Peasy and Reg, were in the league. They have since folded their franchises. Now we're down to 8. What are your thoughts on expansion and contraction?
We had 10 teams and it wasn't bad. And I wouldn't mind the possibility of going to 12 teams, but then a lot of the cons to that as well, because you're gonna have a lot of Leaf guys picked up. It's not gonna be good. You're gonna have a lot of hack guys in the league, so it's better, I think, to keep it a smaller. At 8, waiver wire is really active this year. You got to be on it. At 10, it's a little easier to watch your team. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but I don't think I would go any lower than a 8. Maybe possibly get into a 6 if we needed to.
Yeah,
but,
without leading into my next question.
That would probably be the lowest amount.
I was going to say, adversely, in terms of size of small leagues, how big of a league would you think you feel comfortable being a general manager of?
I don't think I would go any further than 12.
12 would be the maximum.
12 would be my maximum.
Okay, now, the reason we're talking about the size of a fantasy league is for this specific reason. Now, we've had some controversy this season alone when it comes to one of the rules. Yeah, and it just so happens that the rule that there's been a lot of debate over, a lot of controversy, is a rule that would, if changed, would change the entire dynamic of the GFHL as we know it today. Now, the rule is we're pertaining to the style of pool, whether it's a weekly or daily. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on the style of pools?
Well, right now, we're in a weekly pool. It's been great. We've always been in a weekly pool since we began back in 2009. And, it's been successful. All the winners were very deservedly winners. So it's been great. Now, I think, though, we're finally into a position where we have the 8 GMs that are a solid foundation GMs. And I think if we were to make a switch to daily, it could be done because everybody is on the same level right now. Now, would I have done a daily or even entertained the idea of a daily 3 years ago with some GMs that aren't caring? Probably not. But now I think we have a solid foundation, one of the best years, as I mentioned before, that I think our GMs would be capable of handling a daily league, and I would ask for a little bit of faith in me as a commissioner to run a proper league.
Now, kind of bring this up. As a commissioner, you know very well that there are a lot of times that you're in no-win positions, and I think this might be one of those positions. Myself, El Grande Taco, as well as Beliefers, General Manager Chris Zambito CZ69 if you may remember him from week 1, who's also going to be on later in the show, have clearly said if it goes from a weekly to a daily, we will be out dropping your league to 6. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the Rat, who says if it doesn't change and stays the same way, he's going to be gone. Now, when the Rat talks, we all take a grain of salt to that. But can you comment on that, on the situation, albeit the teams in the league size?
There's been a lot of controversy about that, and it's like, one way or another we may lose a GM. But you mentioned in week 1 in the podcast, beauty about running this fantasy league is that we're all friends and everybody gets along great. And with being all friends, I think that either which way we go, we're gonna have an 8-man team, eight GMs in the league next year, and I think those 8 GMs will be the 8 GMs that we have this year. So whatever decision we come to, as a commissioner, we all reach out to all the GMs. I think we're pretty fair. We discuss at GM meetings. I'm a GM myself, so I have my own vote, and I think we'll come to the right decision. So we'll let it play out how it plays out over the GM meetings in the summer, and next year at the draft I'm expecting 8 guys there, and I'm expecting maybe I would say Nick and yourself, Carnegie, to be bringing pizza and beer.
For those who don't know, if you finish last in the league, you're responsible for bringing the beverages to the draft, and if you're second last, you're responsible for bringing the snacks, which just so happens to be a party size. Is this a party size?
It's a party size. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should let the rap know that it's 3 toppings this year as opposed to the 2 baby back toppings he got last year. Yeah.
He's definitely bringing something.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. After the break, we have callers who have a few questions for our GM. As well, we're gonna have Operation Ontario's. You're listening to 97.3 The Gee.